Just for online.
All right. So I'm Sandy. This is Matt. Matt's going to do the lion's share of the presentation. I have the fun thing of handing out some fun prizes for when you answer some fun trivia questions. So the first, oh, I can't even ask the first one. So I'm just going to start out with the history. So in 2009, this stadium opened. So what is this stadium called now? All right, you know, so I'm not gonna give anything. So you have to raise your hands now for the next one. In 2009, what was it called? Yeah. So get a stress ball there from parking and transportation services. Thank you. So our initial transportation management plan was created initially from the environmental impact statement that was completed in order to build the stadium. So as my introduction, I came to the university for a new position that was created. There was not a transportation traffic systems design engineer at all at the university. So I came to help put the plan together for the stadium and also help build LRT through campus. So one of the things, those were my two major jobs when I first started here. So I saw Ben when I first walked in here, and intelligent transportation systems was one of the plans we were working on with the city of Minneapolis and Hennepin County to bring those intelligent transportation systems to campus for helping us manage the event traffic control. And Matt's going to get into the details on all of that. I'm just giving a quick overview. And then over the years, obviously, event traffic control, you have to do modifications based on things changing. So one year, we had a region from Southwest Minnesota, and he was stuck in traffic after a game for an hour and a half just to get off campus. And he insisted that we didn't know what we were doing. And can anybody guess what happened that evening when he got stuck in traffic? Yeah, a lot of people got called. But why was the traffic so bad that evening? It was something somebody else did that didn't really coordinate with the university, that knew that we were having an evening football game that would have to exit to the freeway system. There was one person from, yes. MnDOT had a maintenance project that closed the westbound lanes on I-94 coming from Huron, and nobody knew about it. And it was down to one lane of traffic, so no wonder why nobody could get on the freeway. So so he was having us redo our transportation plan to say, we needed to create University Avenue as a one-way off of campus at the same time as 4th Street was a one-way off campus. What he didn't understand was, oh, they all end up in the same place to get on either southbound 35 or northbound 35. So there was a lot of education going on. But then because of that, he didn't trust our transportation plan. We were required to hire what company? Oh, it's up there. SEH. We were hired to hire a company. SEH proposed, and we hired SEH to do an evaluation of our transportation plan at that time. And pretty much they validated everything we were doing. They made some really great suggestions that we implemented, and we're still doing them today. But essentially, there's a lot of things that go through when you're doing an event traffic management plan. So we were happy with what we had, and SEH helped us make it better. And then what year did the green line open? Yes. Yay. One more stress ball. All right. Great. Okay. So the next slide is the rest of it's Matt. And I have some more trivia questions afterwards.
Yeah. All right. So just sort of some stats about our football games. This is estimates from last weekend, Iowa, we had over 46,000 people in that stadium, and PTS parked about 8,000 cars in our facilities across 20 different parking lots and ramps. That is a lot of people and a lot of cars, and stuff like that doesn't just, happen. You need some sort of bigger plan or something to prepare for that kind of stuff coming on campus. So, first steps, you got to just start making a general plan of what we want to happen. Look at the parking facilities and where we're going to have people go. So, here are our parking facilities on campus. We've got a bunch of them right around the stadium. All of these ones in blue are pre-sold. Those are parking people with season passes to those lots, or at least buying it a day or so ahead of time. And all of the red ones are day of game parking, where you can show up with, $30 cash and just get in. And along with that, there are the major routes on and off campus. University and 4th Street out to 35W are the biggest ones. Washington Avenue Bridge out the southwest to 94. Huron Boulevard to 94. And then University Avenue out to the east are the biggest routes, the big ways that we want to get people off campus. And this is from that study back in 2009, where we sort of looked at where those trips are being generated from. You can kind of see the majority of it is from University and 4th and 35 here. Other big ones are from Southeast on 94 and on University. And there's a big part of people coming in on Washington that doesn't really exist anymore, because there's a train there now and you can't drive through campus that way. So that was one of the biggest ones when it first opened, but like we said, always having to make changes to it. So I don't have a newer number than that, but that's just sort of where people are coming from. So now we have where people are coming from, the generators, and where they're going, the lots or the destinations. We can start planning out the routes that they're going to take to get there. This is sort of just recommended if you are coming in from any of these places, trying to go to these routes, to these lots. What is the route you're going to take to get there? What's the fastest way? We're using this to sort of see, where are we going to have people driving past? If we want to put signs on the road, if we want to put traffic control, where are people going to be driving a lot? Where these intersections are going to cross? Maybe we want to have extra people, some officers out there at the intersections, stuff like that. But none of this is like enforced. If you wanted to, come in and drive all the way through campus to take your big tour, you can. We're not going to have a bunch of road closures enforcing that yet. Reason for that is because ingress is really spread out. Some people get here 6 hours before the game so they can tailgate in the lot all day. Some people get here right before kickoff. Some people show up 20 minutes late. It's spread out usually over 4 to 6 hours throughout the whole day when people show up and sort of get in their lots. Egress is going to be a lot more congested. See, these are our routes off of campus from the lots, and these are actually enforced. If you are in this lot, if you are in a lot that is labeled in green, you are going out the green route. There is road closures preventing you from taking the purple route. Again, the reason for this is because this is everybody leaving pretty much all at once. And when everybody leaves at once, our roads hit capacity, and that's when you get huge traffic jams. So these are based on the capacity of those roads. The capacity of University Avenue can handle all of those lots labeled in green. It cannot handle green and red, or green and orange, stuff like that. So this is just based on capacity and where's the easiest way to get people out on these routes. So that's what we're going to be shooting for when we put together a traffic control plan. And then the last thing, we do have one of those lots. I didn't point it out. I didn't have it on any of this. We have a lot in St. Paul where we park up to 1,000 cars, and those people need a shuttle to get to the stadium. So we do have a St. Paul shuttle that goes to and from St. Paul, and we got to plan out the place where it's going to pick up and drop off. And before game, it picks up right on 23rd there, and at post game, it'll pick up on the transitway there. This little maneuver it has to do to turn right and then immediately left. It'll come in. Remember that. It'll come into play later. So we've got our routes of where people are going, where they're coming from. And so now we got to put this into a, how do we physically make this plan? The first step is our traffic control plan. These are all of the temporary signs, barricades, cones, everything we set up for the game. This is really small. You can't read any of this. That's fine. Just sort of showing you that, there's a lot of stuff that we put out. Most of it before the game is centered right around the stadium where people are walking, where there's a bunch of people picking up, dropping off friends and stuff like that. Not a lot further out from it. Post game, we do set up, there's still a lot by the stadium, but there's a lot even more along those major exit routes. Along 25th and University, there's a lot along, 4th and University out, and it's mostly centered around big parking ramps. If you remember where the parking lots are, those are, again, because we need to force people on their routes out and really get the lots and the major routes moving. That traffic control, what does it help us do? It helps us, point before the game. It can point towards parking. It can close roads, help out pedestrians, and just facilitate getting traffic on and off campus. We have a vendor help us. We do not put out all of those signs ourselves. Pre-game setup, it starts getting set up 6 hours before kickoff, and it's done about 3 hours before. It takes a long time to set up all of those signs. Post-game gets set up during the game, starts 10 to 20, 30 minutes after kickoff, depending on when traffic dies down. And we try to finish by the start of the fourth quarter when we expect people to start leaving in mass. So some examples of what that traffic control plan looks like. This here is Oak Street outside the stadium. We have, if you've ever been to a Gopher game, that is the Gopher Garden, they call it. It's a big place where they set up tents and there's food and games. The band walks through. There's a whole thing. People just kind of get to roam the whole street. So we got to close that street down from cars, set up type 3, no turns. Road close everywhere else. Pretty standard road closure stuff. And then in that right turn lane where they can't park, that's what we use for picking up and dropping off of taxis and Uber lifts. That's our dedicated zone for it. We also tell Uber to geofence that area, that if you are taking an Uber to the stadium before the game, that is where it will take you. All right, and another example, this is for our St. Paul shuttle. Remember, so this is the route it takes before the game. So it's dropping off on 23rd Avenue there. That road is also closed. So the bus will go down that closed road, drop off, come back out here. When it's doing this, the bus is coming straight this way. We don't want people walking right into the bus. There's no sidewalks or anything there, so we put up these signs, and there's a little fence there telling pedestrians that they got to go a different way. Pedestrians and bikes got to move out the way. And this is for the bus route. Remember, it's got to do this whole maneuver here. So we have this stop here on red sign to sort of prevent cars from being stopped right there at the red light so the bus can actually make that move. Not a lot of people listen to that sign. That's one of the things that the officers will do, which, okay, a little ahead of myself, but we will have traffic control officers as a whole separate part of this. Then post-game, this place gets a lot more complicated. Now on top of that bus picking up and dropping off there, there's also a big pedestrian fence that goes all the way up and down there to sort of make people form an orderly-ish line as they get on the bus to go home. With that pedestrian fence, there's no way to actually drive back there. And we've had a bunch of emergency vehicles and cops get stuck trying to drive past the fence. So this is actually newest edition. I got to add this part. These no outlet signs and a bunch of other stuff at these intersections to prevent people from even trying to drive down there. We also, for this exit plan, you see we put up that barricade and those no turn signs. That's the stuff that prevents these stadium lots from going towards 4th Street that way. You can't get out that way. We want you to go this way where we have capacity for you. These cones separate them into 2 lanes. They come down and then they merge into 1 lane here so that they can stop at this intersection where the TCA will help them. Then they go through and we get this extra lane here for Minnesota lot here, where then they form 2 lanes to turn double left turn onto University. These are all one-way roads during postgame. We turn them all. We block off northbound. This is all just using all of that roadway to just get people on and off campus. That might sound a little weird. We have Ski-U-Mah and Victory, 2 giant lots, merge into 1 lane so that Minnesota lot gets its own lane. Does anyone have an idea of why we do that? Why would Minnesota, this lot, this small lot right here, right next to the stadium, why would they get their own lane to themselves? People with money. Did you get an apple already? Yeah. Those are the big donor lots. The first couple seasons, they didn't get their own lane, and they were standing there waiting to make that turn, and that wasn't very fun for them. So they get their own lane. But that lot, it empties really fast. So whenever it is empty, we take that away. We take their cones away. We move these cones away, turn around the merge sign, and that's what that picture is. We do end up with 2 lanes up there. That's one of the things that we change during post game. We'll change a lot of stuff on the fly as things empty. Once this lot is empty, it doesn't need its own special privileges anymore. Just get these people out as fast as possible. A lot of stuff like that in this. And our last example is here at 4th Street Ramp. We set up 4th Street Ramp so that it gets, again, turns into a 1-lane road where we just have 2 lanes coming out of the ramp, turning right here. Kind of see guided by those cones. They do a double right turn onto 4th Street. And here we have people exiting. This is from Washington Avenue Ramp, Church Street Garage. Those coming up here, they also get their own lane to turn left onto 4th Street. These 2 lanes, this 1 lane, all turn onto a 3-lane road. This is 3 through lanes coming through, all trying to get people off campus onto 4th Street. This signal right here, during event mode, there's no northbound traffic, no southbound traffic. There's only 2 phases for this light. One of these people all turning to go out on 4th Street that way, and one of 4th Street going through. You notice that there's never really a time where there aren't cars going through right here. So there's never a time for people to cross. That's what these no pedestrian crossing things are. It's just so that we don't have to hold every single car for 30 seconds while pedestrians cross. And that's it's one of the things PTS will help. There's an officer at that intersection who will help enforce pedestrian crossings only on one side of the street. We've got that at a few locations as well. All right. So the problem with those signs is once they go up, they're pretty much set. Most of those signs you saw are for closing roads or for pointing towards the exit routes. For pointing towards the lots and ramps, they're not easy to change signs once they're out. So if we want to do something that's a lot more ably changed on the fly, we use these variable message signs, the big digital signs you'll see above the roadways. We use those for wayfinding to parking facilities because as soon as a parking facility fills or you need to change it, you need to change the sign right away so that people stop going there. They get mad when there isn't space for them. We also use it for advance notice of event-related delays. Here you'll see an example of what a standard sign might play. Day before, morning of, it'll tell you, hey, there's a football game later today. If you're just somebody who lives in that neighborhood driving around, you might not want to be out there at 5 p.m. You're not going to have a fun time trying to get where you're going. And then it'll start 4 hours before the game. It'll switch into event parking mode. This sign will tell you, turn right at 17th Avenue / Church Street. That'll get you to Washington Avenue Ramp. As soon as Washington Avenue Ramp fills, we can change it. So it starts playing event parking. Turn right at 14th. You'll go to East River Road Garage instead. We can change it to any number of different signs. If you're out there for the Iowa game, the signs were saying there's no more parking left. You got to go to St. Paul. It's not a fun sign to have to tell people. That's what we use it for. And then after the game, it'll have this event traffic ahead. Again, if you're just somebody trying to drive around, there's delays ahead. Expect to take an extra 10 minutes to get where you're going. Last part of our planning is getting traffic control agents out there. These are police who will direct traffic at intersections as well as help pedestrians cross busy roads. This guy is standing out at that intersection before 4th and 17th, and that's an example of sort of the plan that we'll give them. These are plans we've put together for every single officer position. It just tells them, hey, here's road closures, here's what's going on. This is what you're trying to do. Here's a couple of bullet points of how you physically do that. And they're trained professionals, they can figure it out. These are all the places we put cops before the game. Again, they're mostly centered right around the stadium here on this 23rd, kind of helping people around the light rail station and around the getting in and out of the gates. And then post-game, they're a lot more centered on the major exit routes here, and around the parking facilities all around there. Again, now they're focused more on getting cars out rather than people in. Kind of the similar thing to with the traffic control devices. We've got our plan. Now, how do we put it into action? First thing that we have to help is our traffic management center on campus. This is what it physically looks like. we got cameras on a bunch of monitors to view the roads. We can use those cameras to respond to any traffic backups, signal issues, stalled cars, any number of problems that we see. We can see them in live time. We can then communicate any delays. Athletics has a like live message that they can get out to all of their people saying, hey, I-94 is super backed up. Expect to take an extra 20 minutes or dodge it if you can. They also have, as parking facilities fill, they can message out to them, that kind of stuff. This is also where we changed the VMS signs from the Traffic Management Center. We also use it for quality control. Those cameras can see a lot of the traffic devices when they're on the road. If we see a sign fall over or something, we can send somebody to go pick it back up. Can't see everything from the camera, so a lot of it requires people in the field. We'll have a lot of people driving around, making sure things are going good. These are our little checklists. We make sure of stuff happening before the game and after the game. Yeah. And that plan also requires a lot of coordination with other parts of the community. We work closely with the city of Minneapolis, who puts all of our signals into event mode, where they give the main line a lot more green time before and after games. They hood parking meters for us so that we can turn those roads into big one-way roads where instead of 2 lanes and a parking lane, we got 3 full lanes going in one direction or something, as well as Minneapolis Police, who are our TCAs. MnDOT helps us with reversible lanes on I-394, just getting, make it a lot easier for people to come to campus before games and leave campus after the games. Of having interstate traffic cameras so we can physically see how bad I-94 is before we tell people. Metro Transit puts a lot of their buses on detour when we close roads. And we've got a lot of work closely with university partners, with university police, as well as athletics who plan and coordinate the games themselves. We've also, talked a lot about cars, but we do have a lot of alternate ways to get there. Bikes, we have a ton of bike infrastructure on campus. We have about 288 racks around the stadium that people park their bikes in any of these places. There's 11,000 total spaces on campus if you don't want to go to the stadium. Our bike guy told me I had to plug that somewhere just to brag about it. As well as there's lots of shared bike and scooter programs. If you don't own a bike, you can certainly borrow one to take it to the game. And we do also, when they were new, they were starting to get in the way of pedestrians trying to get around games, and so actually now they have a slow ride and no parks geo-fenced area in this like concourse around the stadium. So I was riding one in there the other day. I didn't know what it looked like, but it like legit when I stopped, it started beeping at me and told me I couldn't park there. It told me to keep moving. It's actually pretty cool if you've never ridden one of those. Yeah, it makes you park it at one of the actual dedicated spaces. And of course, pedestrians. On a college campus, most of the students aren't going to drive from their dorm hall to the stadium, so we have to account for a huge amount of pedestrian student traffic for the games, as well as we even close Oak Street, like I said, for the Gopher Garden, and 23rd on the other side. Those are closed mostly for pedestrian traffic before and after games, just using those roads as big transit malls to get people out. And like I said, officers help pedestrian traffic before and after the game. And transit, we've got like I said, our St. Paul shuttle. We've also got our courtesy ADA shuttle that takes people from the dedicated ADA ramp to the stadium. There's a lot of Metro Transit buses that go to and from campus, as well as the Metro Transit light rail, obviously. Stops right there at the Stadium Village station. Google Maps told me it's a less than 1 minute walk to the stadium. So if you're coming to the games, that's a great way to do it. Post games, this entire station will just be filled with people trying to get on the train to go home. All right, so we've got our plan and it works perfectly every year. Nothing ever changes. It's spot on till Hennepin Canyon decides to mess with us. So I'm assuming most of you know about the 4th Street construction. If you're a student, you've been dealing with it. Somebody, if you haven't, great. They've been reducing 4th Street. Right now it's 1 lane. During football games, they bring it up to 2, but that's still a reduction from the normal 3 lanes getting off of campus, as well as been closing some side streets. The one that affected us most was 15th Avenue, and they've been closing sidewalks, lots of just pedestrian detours here and there as well. That's been causing a lot of problems for football games, especially just having that smaller road. And the first 15th Avenue, there was one game where they closed 15th Avenue here between 4th and 5th Street. You can see that is one of our major routes for getting all of these red lots off of campus. 15th, they have the choice to either turn left to go on 4th Street and get out, or right to go up to Como Avenue and 8th Street. That road closed. They couldn't do that. We had to change our plan. What we came up with is you're just going to only turn right. Going right up there. Everybody in all of these lots had to go turn right. Why didn't they go straight? This is right here, if you're familiar, this is that corner. It's a four-way stop controlled intersection. There's a Target there, a big bunch of residential buildings. It's really narrow streets. It's really hard to get 8,000 cars through an intersection like that. We weren't even going to try that, and I'll show you later there's going to be even more traffic through there. We just told everybody, you're not going to 4th Street, you're turning right. A lot of these people are season pass holders. They've probably been there for like 10 years. They were gonna turn left if we didn't add on to that. So also part of it was working with athletics to tell all of these people what was going on and informing them of the changes and having a lot of extra signs and police out there to help with them. This was our updated traffic control plan. See those left and right turns turn into just turn right, made them merge before the intersection. And the other part of it was that normally this road is completely closed because small residential road, we don't want people on it. There's a lot of people coming into campus this way, trying to either Ubers, Lyfts, pick up people, or just normal background traffic. Normally they have to go straight, can't go straight anymore. They all had to turn right, go by that Target and that stop controlled intersection. Kind of made all of Dinkytown a mess. But football cleared past that day, so ended up working out pretty well. Another change we're going through with, these lots normally, gold lot, or normally maroon lot has to turn left to go to 4th Street and 5th Street. Gold lot gets the choice. They're kind of in the worst possible position because either way, it's going to be a super long way to get off campus. So we give them the choice. They can feel a little bit better that they get to pick their poison somewhat. 4th Street is a problem. We're trying to get as many people off of 4th Street as possible. So we've decided, gold lot, you don't get a choice anymore. It's honestly just faster to go to 25th anyway. You're turning right. Maroon, now you guys get the choice. And hopefully a lot of people are going to choose to turn right because we've noticed that this street is clearing a lot faster than anything on the 4th Street side. So we actually haven't even done this change yet. This is something that came about because of the Iowa game and how much of a mess that was. So starting next weekend, this is what we're going to be going through with, is to change that up and hopefully just get people as far away from 4th Street as possible. And last thing that we're changing, this intersection, talked about earlier, it's kind of hard to change a lot of stuff here because this is already gridlocked with people leaving the other lots. This is already gridlocked, all of that. But 4th Street ramp is, they dump entirely onto 4th Street. They're the ones who have been seeing the biggest delays from this whole project. So we've been trying a lot to help them out. We've been trying to have the officer at the intersection give more precedence to the people in the ramp, but it's still not really enough. What we've been trying to do a lot is after 5th Street clears, we've been, allowing them now to turn left out of the ramp, move the cones around, move the barricades out the way, open up that left turn as soon as possible, get them onto 5th Street. But we can't really do that until 5th Street clears anyway, because that's a very hard turn to make. We don't have enough staff to man that intersection to sort of facilitate that. So we got to wait for 5th Street to clear. We still haven't really found a good solution for 4th Street ramp. If anyone has any ideas, feel free to let me know. But we're still looking into that one. That one's the biggest hurdle coming up for this next game. And, oh, Sandy, you're back up. First question is, when did the Vikings play here?
I'm pretty sure it's 7. Why do they have to play here? There you go.
We think the answer was 2017. Sandy's honestly not super sure.
This is one of the things too. What does gold stand for in our customer service world? stands for something? O stands for. Matt should know this. You can't look at
We have enough time to be doing this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
it. G means greet everyone. O means offer help. L means lean on your resources because PTS staff, we cannot know the answer of what gate do I go in if I'm sitting in this section. I don't know the Steve. So then we call somebody and say, okay, look, this person's looking for a gate. Or D. Last one is more. So always offer help. So greet everyone, offer help, resources, and do more. So that was I think it's a cool, very good customer service language. I have lanyards. I don't have so fun prizes we get to pick. So people who have won a prize, we get afterwards. So Viking, here, and then okay, what other professional team has played in the city? Yeah.
What other professional team? The answer is MN United.
What is the capacity of this?
It was on the first slide, and the answer is 46. I don't know. This was your trivia. Yeah. Yeah, congrats. You paid attention.
What is the largest event ever held in? Yes. No. U2. It was crazy.
The answer was U2.
So, U2 is the answer.
Almost. Not quite.
Crazy. They filled the field with people. And thank goodness nobody had a heart attack. They will never put that many people in the field again. It was an emergency nightmare. People were body to body on the field, through the whole field. So yeah, they learned from that. And there was a thunderstorm. And it's crazy. And our vice president at the time, she was our Kathleen O'Brien. She was our emergency person on call, and there was lightning within an area that she could have said we're evacuating the stadium, but everybody was standing on a special pad on the field. She said people are safer in the stadium, and she let the concert go on. So people these days probably wouldn't have done that, but she made the executive decision, and it went on without it. It was crazy. So what was the answer? U2 was the biggest, and we'll never have that many people in the stadium. Okay. So what also affects the flow of traffic regarding event time? Yeah.
Weather.
Yep, weather. That wasn't, you get a prize, but it wasn't the answer. Another answer. Event time. So that was the clue. Time of day. Yeah. No, that's there, yes. But time of day, Jacob. Most of rush hour. That's not the answer.
They're all on Saturdays.
Yep. Time of year. Yep.
The games are all on Saturdays. One of the major exit routes goes through Dinkytown.
So what happens in Dinkytown?
Bar.
Yes. Nightlife in Dinkytown.
Yeah.
So we can have 3 lanes on 4th Street, on regular traffic without this crazy project. And it'll be essentially down to 1 lane, especially Halloween. So event time, because it's Halloween weekend and it's a night game. Gridlock. Don't think you're getting out of any of the parking lots. It'll be just like the Hennepin County 4th Street project all over again. Because you have people, tons of kids around Dinkytown going out to bars. Everybody's in costume. Everybody's talking. I rode my bike from the stadium to the freeway, and it was terrible. It was horrible. Lots of things affect on traffic control. So we, as the staff, we cannot control time or schedule or any of that. It's just something new. I'm gonna pick a prize, everybody. I think I got that.
Does anybody have?
Applause for
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so the question was about dedicated spaces for rideshare services as well as dedicated places for bikes. Um, so here's just our big map. So we do have a couple places dedicated for rideshare services. This sort of curve right here, there's a right turn lane that we block off because the road's closed, and we use that turn lane for pickup and drop off right next to the stadium. There's also University right here. This is normally metered parking. They hood the meters. We use it for pickup drop off. All of this is areas for rideshare services. There's also this little side street down here we use for a lot of more, it's like the limo parking and stuff, right? Yeah. A lot of buses and stuff down there. All of this is in Uber and Lyft as far as geofencing these areas. So if you type it in, that's where you should just go. And then dedicated bike places. Um, there are dedicated bike lanes on University and 4th Street, especially. There will be even better ones when the project's done, just to get bikes off, but nothing really besides that. We have a couple of signs saying that bikes can't go here because they're going to get hit by a bus, but that's about it. Yeah. Restrictions on when you have to get to the ramp by. We sort of end event mode in the ramps. I believe it's that 20 to 30 minutes after kickoff, depending on whether people are still showing up or not. If there's still a line coming from the freeway, we won't end it. But if we do, then there's not like a time you have to be there. It'll just go into normal, like you have to pay by the hour instead of just getting the event prices.
Increase people on those sort of light rails. Do you have increased trains you're running with Metro Transit, or is it still the same?
Yep, they have our football schedule, and I believe, because right now they're normally running 2 trains, but whenever there's an event, they run 3 trains. We're one of those events, I believe, or maybe it's just a weekend thing. I don't actually know, but yes, they do have our football schedule. They run increased frequency and increased capacity on those football days. And a lot of our night games, they'll keep, even if it goes past that normal like cutoff for times, they'll keep going until they're completely clear.
You guys have like an
Yes, we do. That's a City of Minneapolis does that based on their traffic studies, and I don't know the exact specifics of it, but if you email me, I can find out exactly what it is. It's just, I think it goes to, most of the ones on University are 90-second green, 30-second red for the main line, as opposed to the normal 3 times of something else. Yes, we do. I don't know the specifics of it. We do have a way to measure. So the good question was about exit time. Do we have a goal for it? I don't believe we have a specific target we're aiming for, just because it varies so much. When we played Rhode Island, we won by 50 points, and it was like 70 degrees outside, and the game ended at 1 p.m. Everybody stayed in their lot. Everybody tailgated. All the students who didn't care left at halftime because we were already up by 30 points. That was like the easiest egress will ever be. The roads were clear within an hour. It was awesome. We played Iowa. The game ended at 10 p.m. Nobody wanted to stay in the lot because we got our butts kicked. Everybody left, and there was still gridlock traffic at midnight. So it happens. Like, if we set a specific goal, there can't be like the same goal for every game. But we do have a way to measure it, like those traffic cameras we see when people are still exiting the lots and when specific roads are clear. We have specific intersections that sort of, these big intersections that are sort of like 1 or 2 spaces away from the freeway where traffic really begins to dissipate. We keep an eye on those, and we do have clear times for each game. We can tell, that's how I know this street this season has been routinely clearing about like 20 minutes faster than 4th Street. So that's why we're changing our stuff to push everybody towards 25th Avenue as opposed to 4th Street. So that was a lot of words for that question.
85% of the people will leave
Mhm.
right at Bennington. So those expectations for each of those roadways, how long it's gonna take to clear those roadways based on the capacity. So we did an expectation for all our regions, for everybody, so they understood at the beginning that people need to set expectations. They're not gonna be able to get in their car and get off campus and, very quickly. But generally, an hour.
Integration with commuter park and rides. Yes, there are a lot of charter buses and more long distance buses. They sort of, I think it depends a lot on the games of which ones people will come in, but they generally, they park on a lot of these metered spaces up in there. They hood the meters themselves and park there. But yes, they also have our football schedule and they make their own plans for long distance buses.
Yeah, so the Minnesota Valley Transit. They use the transfer to get off campus.
Yep. So the answer is yes, people follow them if there is somebody in a yellow vest standing right there. So typically we have a lot of people, somebody will be there in a maroon shirt like this and a yellow vest on top of it saying, hey, don't cross there. All the cars are going that way. You're going to get hit by a car. And then they go, okay, sir. Or they say, I'm going to cross anyway. And then I don't know. I'm not that powerful enough to stop them.
So we do that at 2 locations, so we
Yeah.
have staff present at those 2
Yeah.
locations. Minimum.
Yeah. This question was about similar level of planning for other events. Football is by far the biggest. I'll say the other event we did that was a similar scale was in my time was we had a Beyonce concert that required this, and we had a really weird graduation where everybody graduated using Huntington Bank Stadium all at the same time. Both of those required basically more or less similar traffic plan, small changes made to it, but yes, those we do have other events besides football games as far as hockey, basketball, those kinds of games. No, they don't require anything like this. They will they have a lot smaller. They have, their parking ramps in the ramp planning and the like VMS, the electronic signs will have a very similar thing, but we don't need officers or whole bunches of traffic control, closed roads, stuff like that. Does that answer your question?
We do have officers for pedestrian crossing.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
We beat Wisconsin last night, by the way.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Any other questions? Give them a round of applause. Thank them for coming. Here's we got a couple water bottles here for you guys for.
Oh, we get March too.
Appreciate you guys coming and speaking. All right, so that concludes it. Thanks, Sarah and Jack. We can also give them a round of applause for helping organize everything, as well as Itzo. And yeah, just a final reminder, you should be receiving a couple emails here upcoming for the October virtual section meeting, as well as elections. And just a final reminder, awards applications are due September 30th, so next Monday. And then student scholarships are due October 11th. And with that, I thank everyone for coming out. Oh.
Okay, so since we have the opportunity, so parking and transportation services for ITSO folks, I have these for you, but we are hiring student interns, so I'll give this information and maybe you guys can post that. But I am also retiring in January of 2025, so my position will be posted at the university. So what my role is parking and transportation infrastructure. So working with Matt, he's our traffic engineer. We do all things fun around event planning and hardscapes maintenance and road maintenance on campus. And also responsible for maintaining all of the parking infrastructure. So all our 17 parking structures and our parking lots throughout campus. So need construction background. And also our alternative modes of transportation with Jacob is a new employee, recently graduated, helping us with all forms of alternative transportation. So I help with that group and lead all projects like that. So I'll be letting NCITE know when that job is posted. So just wanted to let people know that it'll be an opportunity and it's a great place to work.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you
you.
again. All right. Well, I don't know. There's a couple lunches or if anyone wants to take them on the way out. Other than that, appreciate everyone coming out and we'll see everyone at future events. Thank you.
Yeah.